Hi friends. So I am back, and today what I'm working on, sorry I've got some embossing powder on here, is I was able to cut out enough of the paper, the oatmeal box that I had painted yesterday from the butterflies, Kendra's butterflies that I made, to do some birds. But instead of doing bird appliques with these, what I'm doing is making some dangle birds. And so I am going to show you how I put them together. I found a template on Google and I printed a couple of them off. I did a couple because I wanted to have the body, and then I wanted to cut the wing out separately so that it would be a two-piece. So I've already cut out all of my patterns on the cardboard, on the painted cardboard. I've went around the pieces with a marker. And now I'm going through with my paint thin line applicator that just has regular acrylic paint, and I'm putting my white dots around the bird. This was my last bird piece, and now I need to do the hearts and the wings. And this shouldn't take too long because they're all pretty small pieces. I think I need to cut out, let's see, I have I need to do 1, 2, 3 birds, so I do need to cut out a couple more hearts because I have 2 here. I've already put together one dangle, which you should have saw pictures on my last video of the butterflies. I included a picture of one of the birds, the one that I made. That was my first one. That was just kind of my experiment to see how I wanted to do it, and I liked it. And so I decided that I wanted to do as many more as I could cut out of that paper. I had a glob in there. That's the one thing with acrylic paint. You do get some globs in there, and then when you do, like there's another one coming out of here, you have to pull those out of your bottle. See, I'm getting resistance, so I know that there's a bigger glob. See how the string, you want to be careful. You don't want to squirt this on the project that you're doing, because then it's gonna go gush all over whatever you're working on. Believe me, I speak from experience, as many of you have probably experienced something similar with glue and squirting and globs. Glue, squirting, and globs. Okay, so I'm just going around doing my white dots. It goes really quickly. It's pretty relaxing. Whoops. I'm just doing it. It dries really quickly, but just make sure that everything is dried before you start handling your pieces. So I'm glad that I was able to use so much of that cardboard that I painted. It worked out well. So I was able to get the 2 butterflies, which had double butterflies on it. And then the 2, let's see, the 1, 2, 3, 4 birds, which have double birds because they're double-sided. Because when they hang, when they dangle, like a wind chime, you know, they're not a wind chime. Obviously, you don't want to put cardboard out in the weather. But when they hang on whatever you're hanging them on, I like to hang them from lights. Or from like curtain rods, the curtain rods that your drapes hang from. And they move around, so you will see both sides of it. So you got to do both sides. You have to double it. I call them appliques, applique dangles. So you have to double that so that they're, you know, decorated on both sides of it. So that's quite a few pieces out of those 2 oatmeal boxes. Now I don't know if you guys watched that video and you saw Kendra's comment, but she said how she did her background is she did her paper first and then she glued it to her cardboard, which I didn't even think about doing that, but that's also a really good way to do it because then your surface is flatter, and then when you do the paint, you put the paint onto your paper and smash it in between the paper. It's a flatter surface, so your paint will actually spread out smoother than what mine did because my cardboard obviously was kind of lumpy. So you might actually use less paint. Now Kendra said that she liked my idea because she thought it was easier, but I mean, you would really have to try it both ways to see which way you liked. I'm gonna might try it her way just to see which way I like. Okay, so now that's got to dry, but while that's drying, I'm going to show you. Now, remember when I did the painted papers and I offered you guys, why do I have an extra wing? I don't know. I might end up having to do that wing. I just found it under the paper. When I was doing the paper and I actually scanned it in and made it a downloaded document Oh, I'm yawning. When I made it a downloadable document for you guys if you wanted it. Well, these are some of the hearts that I punched out with that. I made the tags. Oh, did I show you guys the tags? I made these tags with the paper that I did the brown butterflies on, and then I used the leftover other paper that I punched the hearts, and I just made these simple tags. I put some thread behind them, and then I ran them through the sewing machine and did the zigzag. So I got those tags out of that. I think I got 4. Yeah, I got 4 tags. And then with the leftover paper, I punched out hearts. Okay, so I made some ATCs, and everybody really liked the ATCs. So remember when I used Sean's stencil? And I stenciled the black cherry words on the paper. This one here. And then I flipped the stencil over onto a white piece of cardstock and just kind of smeared it. Well, this was that paper. And then I took this stamp with black ink and I just stamped all around it, and I cut out these little birds. And what I did is I cut my black cardstock into 2.5 by 3.5 ATC size or pocket letter size. They're the same. And I don't have any good embossing ink, so I just used my white Studio G, which this isn't good for embossing, but it's all I have. So I stamped this pad, this stamp pad, with this ink, and I put some pink embossing powder on there. Now, since that's not really good ink anyways, and it's not embossing ink, I didn't get a whole lot of the embossing powder to stick on here, which is okay, because I kind of like that look where you can see the white behind it and then a little bit of the powder. and I made these ATCs, and then I went around it with that same white ink that I used to emboss these, and I inked black around the birds, and everybody really liked them. I only made 2 of the cards initially, and they're like, ooh, if you make more, I want one. So I went ahead and made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more of the birds. And then I also did the 3 hearts with the same paper, same thing, they just have 3 hearts. And I only had made 2, and so since I had more of the hearts, I went ahead and made 2 of more of these. And I had embossed a bunch of that paper, and I had some of these hearts left over from this paper that I made the tags with. So I just went ahead and glued 2 hearts down on the rest of the embossed paper. So just to give you an idea that, you know, when you cut something out and you have leftover paper, you can use the scraps for things like this. Okay, so I keep these birds. I'll put this down so you can download this template if you want to make some of these dangles. So this is the template that I found, and I just find that he's so cute. So I cut out 2 of them because I wanted to cut out his wing to have a separate piece, and then his body, and then I just simply glue his wings onto him. Now remember, when you're doing this, you're going to have to cut out 2 of him, but you want him to go. You don't want to put this down and cut and trace this out on your paper. You're going to have to do one facing this way and one facing this way. So let me make sure these are dry, so that when you put him together, right, you're going to want him to go the opposite directions, because when you put him together, you want him to match up. And then the same with the wings. You're going to want your wings, so his wing goes this way, so this wing is going to be on this side, this wing is going to be on this side, and you're going to want those to match up. And then when you glue them on, he's the same on both sides. So see, he looks like that. You turn him over, he looks like that. Okay. Now he has a little heart dangling from his mouth, but the hearts will match up because the hearts are a punch, right? So they're going to match up perfectly. So he's going to have this heart dangling from his mouth like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put him together. I'm only going to do one. It's fairly easy, so save your template so that when you want to make more, you've already got it. So I am going to grab my beads, and so for this part, just use whatever you've got handy. If you want to use, oh, I am so sorry, I don't know where all this yawning is coming from. If you want to use fishing line, you can. The reason why I chose not to use fishing line is because fishing line is heavy, and I didn't want it to be bending. You know what I mean? How sometimes it's so heavy that it just bends. So the first thing that I need to do is glue my bird together. So I need some paper or some clothespins and my glue. If you want to use hot glue for this, you can. Whatever you would typically use. I like to use wet glue, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to flip one of my birds over. If you want to put your string with glue instead of punching a hole in your body, you would want to do that first. I like punching a hole. So you do it however you feel the most comfortable doing it. I like to put some in the middle, but I really like to concentrate my glue on the edges so that that is where it's, you know, really sealed good, so that you don't have any puckering. Now these are hand cut, so they might not line up 100% perfectly, and that's okay. So I'm just going to get them lined up as best that I can. Some of them, sorry. Haley, I'm making a video.
Sorry.
Can you let the dog in?
Okay.
So this glue dries really quickly, so I don't have to worry about holding this for very long. But I'm telling you that Elmer's Craft Bond is really a fantastic glue. And once it dries, and it really only takes a couple of seconds or a minute to get a good seal. And then you truly are good to go. So where the paper clips aren't, I'm just giving it a little bit of a press. Hey, seriously, that's all it takes. I'm wiping some of my glue off that squirted out. Can y'all see how I've got a little extra paper? I'm just gonna trim that away. Okay. Have a little bit of extra on the beak. You can go around and ink these if you want to, but I really just don't find it necessary. But, you know, if you want to do that, then you can. You're going to be looking at it forward. You're not really going to be looking at it from the seams. But if you wanted to, and I'll show you, you can take your ink and press it up into your body and get some black in there and hide that if you prefer. I really don't find that it's necessary, but it does help. Okay, you guys. If you don't want to cut those pieces off, because I did have to fix my black dots around the edges, you can take your Sharpie marker. See, like this space right here. I don't know if you can see how you can see the orange from the oatmeal box, but see, it actually works better to just take your marker, and there's another part on the tail. I'm going the wrong way. Back here, I don't even know if you can see it. It's just right on the tip. Anyways, I'm going to take the marker and just run it along there. Now my marker's getting pretty dry. These are cheap markers, so they don't really last a long time. And then there's a piece over here on the bark. On the bark. Oh, I can't think. On the beak. Okay, so I'm just a little frazzled because Brooke just shut the washing machine lid on Haley's head and put about an inch, about an inch long cut in her head, up in her hairline. And it was bleeding pretty good. But Haley bleeds. When she gets cut, she bleeds a lot. Okay, so I got these two done. Now I've got this little Euro punch that punches around 1.80 millimeter hole. Okay, it's called a Euro punch. And so what I am going to do is I'm going to take this punch and I am going to punch a hole in this bird's beak. Now I'm not going to go where the black is because I want it to be in the thicker part of the beak. Okay, can you see where I'm at? I'm not where it's thin. I'm in the thicker part. Oh, sorry guys. It's just when you're zoomed in this close, it's hard to... I don't know why it's hard for me, but... Okay, so I'm going to punch it there. And so it gave me a hole right there. And that's where I'm going to put my string. So now I need to glue my hearts together. Yeah, so anyways, Haley's head, it's not, I don't think they would have put stitches in it because it wasn't gaping. But my worry was, you know, to get the bleeding to stop, which I did get the bleeding to stop. But by the time that I would have gotten to the hospital, it would have stopped bleeding. And they may have glued it. They may have put some glue in it, but they probably wouldn't have done anything actually. Which I'm glad I have a medical background because I pretty much know. I have a pediatric background and an emergency room background, so sometimes you get a little foggy when it's your own kids and you kind of get like stupid. But it sealed right back up. But she just bleeds so darn much. And we've had her tested, so it's not a clotting factor or anything. It's just her. Okay, so again, I'm just going to hold this until it's sealed. Our washing machine is a pretty heavy-duty washing machine, and it has a glass lid on top, which it's a tempered glass lid, so I'm not worried about that. But Brooke got in there to get her dress out that I had just washed. And when you wash in that washing machine and you put it on extra spin, it literally dries the clothes like almost dry. Like it spins it almost dry. There's just a little bit of paint missing off of that, so I tried to put some color back in it. It's not that big of a deal. And so she went down there to get her dress out of the washing machine, and Haley had her head sticking in there, and Brooke just closed it. So the latch or something, or the edge of it, must have just hit her head just right. She didn't cry or anything. She just comes upstairs, and I'm like, why is your face full of blood? And so then I looked at her head, and she had a gash. It's not really a gash, a cut on her head. So my initial thought was, oh, okay, yep, that's going to require some stitches, until I got it cleaned out and really looked at it and thought, okay, well, it's steep, but it didn't go like to the Dura, like there was no fat sticking out of it or anything. It was just like the first layer of dermis. Okay, so now you can either make your heart, you know, dangle straight, which maybe I'll do this one like this. I did the other one so it dangled sideways, so I put the heart here, but maybe this heart is going to dangle straight. So I'm just going to punch that hole right there. Okay. So now I've got holes punched in both the bird and the heart. So now I strung the thread through my heart first. And it's just like threading a needle. So I'm going to... Now if you want to use a different kind of string for this, you know, go ahead. And if you want to use a needle, go ahead. I just did it like that. Okay, so this is what I've got. I've got my heart. I've got my heart on one end with my string. Now my string is longer than I'm going to need it, but I like to have it because I'm going to knot it off at the bird's beak. Okay, so this is what I've got. These are my beads that I'm going to use. I'm making this particular bird for a friend, and she wants it like the one that I made last night. So, although I am going to do the beads a little bit different. She wants it exactly like mine, but I am going to do it just a little bit different. Just to see if she even notices. Now, if you want to put a needle on here, put a needle on here. It might be easier. Just going to cut that to so that my string doesn't struggle. Okay, so I'm going to put that bead. She likes green, so I've got these green beads. Thread a green bead. I don't like the way that that is sitting on there. It's kind of plopping down in the bead and making the heart crooked. So I'm going to try to do this the opposite way. I'll put my green bead on first. Maybe it will sit in the center of the heart better. Now I'm going to put my clear bead on. Okay. So you know, just have fun with your beads. I don't even know if I can thread this one here. I can. See, it's still doing that. It's still sitting funny. So I don't want it to sit funny. So I'm going to put this silver one on first since it's skinny. And I'll lift the other bead up out of there. There we go. Now it's not going to sit funny. Seriously, you guys, my eyes are so bad anyways. It might be easier for you, but you might want to put a needle on here. I don't want to make this too terribly long, but you can do it however you want to do it. Even if you want to use smaller beads, like little seed beads and stuff, that would be really cute. Put another clear fan. And other green. And another silver. Okay, then I'm going to split my strings. Okay, and then I'm just going to let them split. I'm going to pull one through his beak. You guys can't even see me. All you can see is a tray of beads. I'm going to put one through his beak. Thread it. Oh, come on, that's a big old hole. You can go through there. Okay, I'm going to pull the beads up. Make sure they're underneath his beak. I'm going to tie it. I'm going to tie it in a couple of double knots. This is just regular thread, but if you wanted it to be more sturdy, you could use some quilting thread, which is a lot sturdier than just this regular thread. Okay, so that's what I've got. So the dangle is hanging from the bird's mouth. Okay. And then for the top piece, you can do it a couple of different ways. Oops, I don't want these ones. These are small, little eye ring thingies. But I like these bigger ones for these dangly things. And then I need a couple of these little eye pins. Beads on the eye pin, so I don't want to put these too far away. Okay. So for this is pretty, the bottom part is pretty heavy, so you don't necessarily want to punch your hole in the center. You want to put it more over towards the head so that it hangs straight. If you put it over in the middle of the body, it's going to hang crooked. You know what I mean? It's going to hang crooked. So you want to put it more in the head so it hangs more evenly. So you want to punch it, you know, more over in this area. So you want to leave enough room over here. And then you're going to need a couple pairs of pliers to separate your eye rings. And like before I've showed you, I'm not good at jewelry, but I can do enough to get by. You don't want to pull them apart. You simply want to push one away and pull one towards you so that it's more like this. Okay, we just do a twisting. Ugh, gosh, I just am so backwards. Twisting motion. Okay. And you're going to stick that into that hole. You're going to take one of your eye pins and you're going to add it to that. And then you're going to close this back up by doing the same motion and match them back up. You're good to go. Okay. And you've got something like, looks like this. Your bird is hanging. I could have gone back a little bit. He's hanging a little bit. He could have gone back. I could have put him back a little bit, but that's okay. He's done. It's kind of, you're kind of guessing when you do this. So note to self, put him back a little bit. So I'm just going to start off by putting some beads. I'm going to put a silver. I'm going to grab a green. I'm going to grab a clear. Another silver. Another green. And my next one is a pink. You could use, if you don't have these eye pins, you can use thread for this part too. Okay, I'm going to take, these are rounded at the tip so that I can make loops. I'm going to grab the tip. I'm going to push these beads down and I'm going to grab this and make a loop. I'm going to grab this other eye pin, put it on there, finish my loop. I'm going to tighten this down all the way so that my loop doesn't fall off of there. It's tricky, you almost need an extra hand to do this, but if you keep fiddling with it, forget it. If you one of these to hold the two together. Okay, so now this is what I've got. You see that? So now I'm going to put another silver. I'm kind of following the pattern that I've got down here. Just working my way down a clear. A green. And a silver. Okay, now I'm going to take that same pair of pliers. I'm going to grab the tip I'm gonna hold my beads down and I'm just gonna start turning. Now you can cut this off if you want, but I find it easy just to twist it. Like that. Okay, it makes it kind of funky, but it holds it. I'm gonna take this, put it in there, and then I've got these little clamp things. You can find these in the jewelry department. I put that on there, then I'm gonna close my ring. Okay. And then ta-da. You've got your dangle. Here, let me lay it down for you. So that's what it looks like. Okay, I'll take a picture of it hanging up next to my other one. So there he is. He just kind of hangs there and holds onto his little heart, and he's so adorable. Okay, and then so what I do, let me grab one. See these little keychain things? I put one of these on there. And you could actually forego this little hook and just put this one on here if you want, but I don't know what, people are going to use this, how they're going to attach it to things. So I would just give them this as well. And then, like for me, my chandelier that I hook these to have, like the big brass candelabra type bracket holder things. So you can just undo this and hook it directly onto the little clasp thing. So it makes it easier to put it on. If you didn't want to do this, they could tie a string or something onto this hook and hang it that way. That's how I make them. You can do this in any shape. You could look up on Google for any kind of template, or you can search under template. Like this, I did bird template. You could also do bird applique if you wanted butterflies, do bird, or do butterfly applique, butterfly template, flower applique, flower template. If you wanted to do frog, search frog applique, frog template, anything that you wanted to make. That's how you would search it. And there you go. You have a cute little dangle. Alright, you guys, so I hope that this helps. I hope you make some. If so, oh, I forgot to put his little wings on. Oh, he needs his wing. Let's put his wing. How could I forget? So you just got to get two wings that are going the right direction. Okay, so these two wings. So I'm going to put glue. I can't believe I almost forgot his wings. You guys are probably yelling at your computer or your phones going, what about his wing? Yeah, so you want to not forget about his wing. He looks cute without a wing, but he kind of needs his wing because he's flying in the air. Okay, so you're going to put glue on both wings. And just going to position them. So his wings go towards his head. So you just need to put them where you want them on both sides of his body, and then match them up to outline you can, if you find it necessary. And there you go, you're all done. So like I said, I will take pictures of him and put them at the end. Okay, you guys? So I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And as always, God bless. Bye-bye.